In this tutorial we'll look at how to draw a square, and what we're going to do first of all is we're going to open the starter project that we had before, and when this opens you can see that we have a sprite which is this pointer, and what we're going to do is we're going to use this pointer and we're going to basically draw a square. Okay, so what we can do is first of all drag across the when clicked, because that's important, we need that to start. And if we then go to looks and select show, and we'll attach that on there. Okay, what that does is that will activate the sprite. It will show the sprite on the stage, because at the moment we can't see the sprite here. Although it's here, we can't see it on the stage. Okay, and then we will go to pen and choose clear, which means that every time that we run this program it will show the pointer and clear anything that we've previously drawn. Then we'll go into motion and we'll select go to XY, and we'll leave that set at 0 so that it always goes to the centre of this window. Then we'll go into pen and we'll say pen down, and that effectively means that we're going to start drawing. Okay, now the next thing that we want to do is work out, basically using the things in the motion palette here, the direction of the arrow, where it's to go, how far it's to move, and in what direction. So we will take the point and direction 90 degrees first of all, then we'll select move, and at the moment it says 10 steps, but that'll be a wee bit small, so we'll make it something a wee bit bigger. We'll say 40. Okay, and then what we want to do is again take point and direction, but this time we'll change it from 90 to 0, and you'll notice that when I do that it tells you that 90 means point to the right, minus 90 is to the left, 0 is to point up the way, and 180 is to point down the way. Okay, so it gives you roughly the direction that these changes will make. So we're going to point up the way and draw a line up the way. Okay, so we'll then take the move again, click that in there, and again we'll make it 40, because obviously we're drawing a square, so we need to keep everything the same. Another point and direction, and this time we'll do a minus 90, because we've got to the top of the square, we want to go left and come back to the starting point that we were on, and we'll move another 40. Okay, and then we want to point down the way so that we can come back to our original starting point. So we'll do 180, we'll move 40, and because we're at the end, rather than having this sprite on screen, what we'll do is we'll go back, oops, I've clicked on sound, sorry about that, go back to looks and select hide, and that way it should disappear at the end. Okay, now that we've done that, what we'll do is we'll save this. Again, we don't want to save it directly under the same name as this starter project. We want to have something that we want to do a save as, essentially, so that we've got a different version of it. So we'll do a save as, and we'll call it version 2 underscore v2, and that means that when we do OK, we've got version 2. So we've got the original starter, and now we've got this one, so that if anything goes wrong here we can go back to the original and start again. So we want to run it, so when I double click on this area here, or alternatively press the green flag, if you keep your eye in this area you should see a square drawn. Okay, so if we double click, you might have just seen the arrow flash up and then the square gets drawn. Notice also here the difference in the arrow. It's now pointing down the way where it wasn't before. Now that all happened quite quickly, so what we're going to do is we're going to slide back to single step mode, and we'll run through it, having a look at exactly what happens with each of these. So we'll double click, and you can see there that there's a sort of the show has changed from its normal purple to a kind of lime green colour. That means that what's happening is that particular line of our program is the line that's getting executed at this moment in time. So with that show, you can see that this has reappeared, this arrow. Okay, so if we click on single step, you should see the next statement will be clear, and that the square that we had drawn is cleared. Again, if we click single step, let's go to XY. You wouldn't have seen much happening there, because remember the square was drawn such that it came back to its original starting point anyway. Pen down again just means that we're ready to draw. You'll see that the arrow has now changed its direction to 90, and if we single step again, move 40 steps, it's drawn this blue line and moved along. Again, if we do single step, we've changed direction to point up the way, move 40, point back to the left, move 40, point down, move 40, and then finally when I click single step, the hide will be executed and you won't see the down arrow. Okay, so what we've done there is we've basically drawn on the screen using a sprite and various pen down and movement commands, and we've managed to draw a wee square. Okay, and we've also used single step so that you could trace through each step and see how it executes. What I would suggest is that you can use basically single step and the turbo. If you're quite happy with how the thing works, then obviously set it at turbo and it'll just go through all the statements in a runner. If you're unsure what's happening, say for instance you weren't getting a square but you were getting a triangle, then use single step and you'll find the point at which your program goes awry. So hopefully that was helpful, and we'll create another wee tutorial later on.